Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we are going to be doing the third part to what if Bardock was like Dr. GERO. Please like the video if you haven't already and subscribe. It's totally free and you can unsubscribe whenever you want. There's nothing much else I'd like to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Slick talker since a jet. Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag. Disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
After Goku's near-fatal injuries, Frieza has become mechanized and is headed toward Earth with his father for revenge. During this time, Goku has been training his new Golden Super Saiyan form and can now use it at will. Being the only Super Saiyan, it creates this insane gap between him and everyone else. His power level has grown to 2 million from his training, and Raditz's is at a solid 400,000. Their Frieza DNA is really starting to take effect in their speed of growth. He's been training with Goku a lot, and from his much greater strength, it makes him grow faster in his own right. The two Saiyans stand side by side watching Frieza descend. It's not long before their father also arrives to see what is happening. Frieza has a father, Goku asks. How do you know about that? Raditz then asks. Now with Goku's Kana-san DNA, he gets flashes of what's to come. Sometimes he can control it, but in other cases the information is kind of thrown at him. Here he simply saw a vision of Frieza and this larger person that looks like him appear from the ship. Greetings Saiyans, Frieza says with his arms crossed. I'm surprised you'd show your face here again, Raditz shouts, smiling at him. Frieza looks angry, but King Cole notices this. Then he tries to hide the emotions he feels to make it seem like they don't annoy him. However, these Saiyans certainly do. Goku's mercy is the only reason he lives. Some of his soldiers know this, but he made sure this was kept secret and so his father isn't aware. However, this fight is soon underway, the rematch between Frieza and Goku. Goku makes his stance and powers up into his golden SSJ form right from the start. The golden tint envelops his body and he is also given blonde hair. Frieza lands a sequence of punches, but all of them land on Goku's forearms. He can stand there and predict where they'll land and then use such arms to block the hits. Suddenly his left eye goes red, including his pupil. That's when he can see the micro movements on his skin from the components in his body. It's rather intriguing for him to look at. When he looks at normal people, he doesn't see the things that he sees in Bardock's androids, for example. Therefore, when he looks at the cyborg that is Mecha Frieza, it makes him a little surprised. He can see both organic tissue and metallic components. However, he snaps back into the battle and hits Frieza right in a pressure point. This knocks the wind out of him while also dealing grave damage. It's a technique he's been working on for this time and it's just about managing to get it down. Frieza coughs out blood and steps back. The pressure point was on a shoulder joint and now his arm is popped out of place. He immediately looks back to his father that is a little surprised by the injury that he just incurred. However, Frieza looks straight back to the Saiyan that hits him with sharp, cold eyes. Goku then smashes his fist into his face, and with this single hit, Frieza is down on his knees. His world is spinning, but his head is still. The Saiyan then spins around to thrust out his leg in the form of a back kick, striking him right in his chest. This launches him away and toward his ship. His nose is gushing with blood and he looks quite disoriented. However, he comes back to his senses and is beyond furious, to lose for the second time and on top of that in front of his father. His entire life his father viewed him as this powerful phenom that couldn't be touched, as the Emperor. How does he see him now? No, his thoughts drive him forward and push him to win this fight by any means necessary. He launches a barrage of precise but sharp death beams, but the Saiyan swipes all of them away with graceful hand movements. The sharp beams can't even pierce his skin and only deflect into the ground around them. From the speed at which these beams are moving, Raditz is forced to retreat. To be totally honest, he can't even see them. Just like in canon when Frieza arrived at the Z-Fighters in his final form, the beams are so fast that Raditz can't perceive them. All he sees is a flashing light from Frieza's fingers and an explosion nearby in the same instant. Goku then reaches out and just grabs the Emperor by his neck. I told you not to come back, but no, you defied me in return, Goku says, squeezing harder on his neck. Why should I let you live? Frieza struggles to get his breath back, trying to rip Goku's hand from his neck. No matter how hard he tries, he cannot. Please spare me, Frieza pleads. In this moment, he can't find a way out of this. No, his mind is too distracted by the pain of Goku's brutal squeeze for him to think of anything coherent. His wits aren't of use here. Goku just grits his teeth, seeing the arrogance and evil in the man's eyes. He knows if he lets him go, the same thing will happen again. Therefore, he squeezes harder and snaps his neck, ending everything right there. His body falls limp and still, and Goku throws him to the side. He dusts off his hands before looking up to King Cole that is interested in fighting him now. However, Goku doesn't want to carry this on for too long. He rushes in at full power, striking one of King Cole's pressure points. He coughs out blood and feels several ruptured organs. He's basically incapacitated with this single hit. He's left twitching and grunting on the floor, and Goku just stomps on his head to end things. Now, this isn't the same pure Goku that we know. This is Kakarot, son of Bardock, a Saiyan. He won't hold their deaths in his conscience for long. After this point, Kakarot turns, but then sees a purple-haired individual stood ahead of him. Kakarot isn't entirely sure who this person is at first, but can sense almost no power from him. When he looks for slightly longer, he can tell that he's a human. Not only that, but he also looks like Bulma. You can't keep looking at him for long though, as the silence is broken by someone else, a duo flying at full speed toward him. As he turns, he can see Raditz walking past him to face them. Raditz, Kakarot, Vegeta shouts, with his hands clenched tightly. It's great to see you again, Vegeta, Raditz says with a smile, only making the prince angrier. I'll wipe that smile off your face, he shouts, pointing at him. Kakarot steps back and future Trunks does the same, and the other two Saiyans kind of just sit back and watch this play out. You'll regret coming back here. Before he can say another word, Vegeta darts forward and hurls his fist toward him. However, Raditz steps out the way and catches such fist. His movement is graceful and far quicker than Vegeta's advance. Next, he spins the whole guy around and slams him down, but right after doing so, he receives a heavy, sturdy kick to the center of his chest from Nappa. His power level might not be as high, but when you give him time to throw a strong attack, he can deal damage. He sends sliding back and feels this light ache in his chest. It does fade after a second or so though. The two Saiyans start attacking him simultaneously, very disgraceful. He's surprised Vegeta wouldn't give him the grace of a 1v1, however it's still futile. Nappa throws a punch, but Goku grabs it and throws him to the side, making him his own human shield. Vegeta ends up punching his own ally in the side of his face, leaving a large bruise on it. Raditz chuckles upon seeing this, and this leaves Vegeta seething. It's not long before he lets this growing rage out though. He begins roaring and even cracks the ground from the force of his ki charge. His eyes are bloodshot with rage. He won't accept another loss again. Now Nappa is annoyed that he was humiliated like anyone else would be. Since he's a Saiyan, these emotions are even greater. His power is so integral to himself and his identity, so it means a whole lot more. With Vegeta though, it's everything. He doesn't just have power, it's part of who he is. His purple aura is chaotic and intense, more intense than Raditz has ever seen it. So you're getting serious now, Vegeta, Raditz asks, just smiling at it. This leaves Vegeta irate. This fury though can't let him do miracles. He throws several haymakers, he just continues firing them forward, but Raditz can evade each one of them with ease. He starts even catching and throwing the fists aside, letting them fly past him. Jumping over the prince, he kicks him in the back of his head, throwing him headfirst into the dirt. Raditz then grabs one of his feet, lifting him up and swiveling him around. He begins to spin around at high speed, but Vegeta isn't going to let him throw down like before, no. Instead, he turns back to him and launches a close-up ki blast. Landing right where he intended, he smiles. However, as the smoke clears around them, Raditz just looks angry but totally fine. Slamming him down, he's cracked his skull. However, with so much adrenaline, Vegeta doesn't even notice. He returns to his feet only to receive a strong punch to his gut. Raditz landed a strong straight punch but then steps forward in his fighting stance and begins throwing a series of swift explosive hooks. They land with heavy thuds and Vegeta is too weak to deal with them. To the prince, his attacks look like complete blurs. A final clean left hook to his chin leaves Vegeta on the ground, coughing out blood and dizzy. Nappa comes charging in from behind him, but Raditz elegantly leaps right over him. As he lands, he then pulls back both hands, then fires off his double Sunday attack. This launches Nappa miles away. He crashes through a whole mountain before being sent tumbling and rolling across a vast grassland. There was no need for you to come back, Vegeta. This was always going to happen, Raditz says, twisting his wrist. Vegeta coughs up more blood before weakly falling back onto one of his arms. It looks like he's getting the strength to say something, but he randomly fires off a ki blast. Raditz doesn't knock it away though, but instead catches it. He slows it down to a stop without detonating it before pushing it straight back to Vegeta. It lands right on him, sending him rolling away. He comes to a stop, coughing out even more blood. Raditz can see he's extremely weak. He already lost the novelty of beating these two up. It doesn't even feel good for him anymore. I don't want to hurt you two anymore. I'm not like you. I don't just hate and beat on people that are weaker than me, Raditz says. If you want a problem, then no problem. I won't start anything though, it's just below me, Raditz says, walking past him. He ends up just flying away, shaking his head as he does this. Goku ends up flying away with him, and future Trunks follows along. As he does this, he reveals who he is and why he is here. Goku lifts his eyebrows with surprise upon hearing the story though. How could there be androids that are strong enough to take them all down? His father has bots in the skies always watching, and he hasn't really picked up on anything suspicious recently. However, future Trunks doesn't look like he's lying. I mean, he came all the way from the future to warn them, so this must be real. He tells the others, including his father, of what's to come. And that's when Bardock realizes he might not be the only scientist on this planet. This pushes him into high gear. He continues working to form these totally cybernetic androids, but finds that he can't make them as strong as he would hope. He needs a test subject to work with. Now he still has Tambourine and Symbol to work on, so he starts with them. His first is a complete failure. Theory is rarely put into place on his first try. However, in his second try with Tambourine, he gets a little something. He rotates his tail so he is standing upright and can read a much higher power level from him. Upon focusing with one of his scouters, he sees the reading pass 1,000,000 before it breaks. What did you do to me? Tambourine asks. Now alarmed, Tambourine tries to punch Bardock. When his fist is only inches from touching him though, it falls totally still. It's like his body is working against him. Every fibre of his being stops him from punching him. I altered your mind to make you non-aggressive. While you're still aggressive, but your body has certain procedures in place to stop you acting out, Bardock explains. Yeah, whatever that means, Tambourine replies. After hearing this and seeing where he is, he feels like he really can't fight his way out of this. What he does notice though is that he feels way stronger. Not only that, but he feels slightly different, like there's parts of his body that are just a little different. Bardock begins watching the Namekian closely. For the first few days he's doing fine. He even gets him to do some training against one of his bots. The fight is intense and the two are almost equal. It's a fun watch, and what he notices is that both individuals have infinite energy. They're not real, relying on energy the same way an ordinary human or sane would. However, he starts degrading. His condition starts off as some form of fever. Soon after that, he starts coughing out black blood. He's not doing so well. He's not dead after Bardock gets him strung up on an array of chemicals, but he can't really get off them. It's like his life support now. Time is passing and fast. Everyone around is training and Bardock isn't sure if that'll be enough. He knows how strong someone can become with this android transformation. Why didn't I realise this sooner? I was too bothered about genetics this, genetics that. I could have done this a while ago, he shouts to himself, grabbing his hair with annoyance. However, someone is there to keep him calm. Gine. Don't worry Bardock, you're doing fine, I promise you, Gine says, going in to hug him to try and calm him. It works. He slowly calms himself down and takes his mind off the struggles he's working through for a short time. Goku and Raditz are bashing their heads and sparring each other every single day. The humans are also hard at work to try and improve their strength. Bardock does jump in from time to time. He wants to train as much as them but realises that to save everyone his best shot is with his brains and not his brawn. It does go against his Saiyan instinct. It kills him to stay inside while the others are training. The years go by and soon 3D. Bardock has locked himself in his room working to finish his next project. He didn't explain to anyone exactly what it was, but he says he'll be out once it's over. Goku, Raditz and the fighter human stand atop a rock ledge looking down on the city of Sasebo, where the destruction has started. Instead of being forced to search themselves, a mechanical bot appears beside them, a little buzzing bee. Hello fighters, follow me, I can guide you to the androids you're looking for, the robot says, before glowing like a bright lamp. It's almost like a star, and the Z-fighters have to use this since these androids don't actually have key signatures. The group follow and land all in a group, before Android 19 and 20. Greetings fighters, I must say before we get things started that I'm so grateful for your father, Raditz and Kakarot. You let his androids loose so I could analyse them. They were slightly different to mine, but they gave me insight. I managed to make mine significantly stronger because of it, he explains. 19, show them what I mean, he states. He smiles before leaping ahead into flight. The first to try and take on the fight are the humans. Tien launches his tri-beam with much greater speed than was normal for him. 19 though moves with grace and swivels over it. Landing a single side kick, he shatters Tien's jaw and launches him off his feet into a nearby building. Yamcha then turns and lands a powerful punch to his jaw followed by a kick into his gut. Both kicks land on pretty much solid metal and sting a bit but cause 19 no damage. He just grabs Yamcha by his neck and headbutts him to knock him out. 19 doesn't fight with the same technicality that he did in the show. He fights in a more brazen, animalistic way. Krillin then lands a series of powerful quick punches. He's a lot shorter than the other fighters, which makes his attacks naturally faster. However, it still isn't enough. 19 backhands him and lifts him into the air, but then grabs his shirt and slams him into the ground before he can get propelled away. I thank your father Bardock even more for training you all to fight like Saiyans. I thought you guys fought like barbarians upon watching you at first, but from what Bardock said, you were supposed to be a warrior race. So I looked into it a little more, Dr. GERO says, calmly walking. He just keeps his hands behind his back as he does so. 19 hurls Yamcha aside, but Krillin slowly gets up, shaking off the pain. He fires off his special attack. The disc buzzes as it spins at great velocity, but it's still useless. All the androids do is step out the way, then the disc is sent flying off into the sky, where it slowly disintegrates into a cloud of ki. It turns out the style is formidable, and makes you more unpredictable, harder to deal with. Not only that, but it uses your strength to its greatest degree. It might not be using your speed and endurance as effectively, but it makes you strong. It made my android strong, Dr. GERO explains. Goku looks firmly at the two androids, before turning to Raditz and nodding. The two start shouting together, releasing all their ki. Seconds later, they're both Golden Super Saiyans. Raditz's Frieza genetics was small, but just enough to grant him the special transformation as well. Both charge toward 19 and punch him simultaneously. 19 ends up blocking the initial attack and sends him sliding back along the tarmac. Raditz rushes forward first, swinging in a punch, but 19 evades. With Raditz still moving forwards, he pretty much walks into the next punch that lands on his chest. It leaves him hurt for a little bit, but it isn't much of an issue. Goku speeds past him, landing a clean kick to the android's head. This makes GERO's face fall still. He wasn't expecting this sort of power from these Saiyans. 19 throws an exaggerated swing at the Saiyan, but he blocks and lands one of his own. The android aims to land another attack, but Goku dips under it, then swings up a powerful kick to his chin. Upon landing it, Raditz storms past him and firmly front kicks 19 away. These hits have left the android a little confused. He's working with very strong and fast individuals. It's hard for his systems to keep up. You can see his head slightly twitching, hard at work with calculations and functions. Just as he steps forward to try and fight again, Goku hits him with a Ki blast, a wave of Ki and wind that leaves him disoriented for a short while. Raditz takes his chance to launch his double Sunday at point blank range. The blast disintegrates the android and breaks him down completely. He's turned to ash and defeated, leaving just GERO left. After feeling so confident and bold, he's left gulping with fear. He weighs up his options and realizes he can't stay here. Lifting, he flies off as fast as he can, but the two Saiyans chase right after him. They arrive in this odd looking place and see him shut himself into a lab. They don't wait for long, and Raditz chooses to blast the whole wall down. As it comes crumbling down, two individuals fire straight through the rocks, 17 and 18. 17 elbows Raditz in his face, breaking it and launching him into the air. 18 then headbutts Goku and grabs one of his arms to spin him away. Go and get him for me, androids, GERO orders. 17 just chuckles and turns back to him. I go on my own accord, I don't need to listen to an old man like you, 17 declares. He grabs his head and begins squeezing. It's not long before he crushes it, gruesomely killing his creator. Upon dropping him, he wipes off the flesh before turning to android 16, still snugly in his chamber. Walking over to him, he activates the fully cybernetic android and brings him along to complete their mission, to kill Kakarot. Kakarot and Raditz are left in a wasteland, quite injured by the single attacks they received. Raditz has bruising around his ankle where 18 grabbed him, and Kakarot has a bruise on his head. Luckily, they have the blue senzu beans that Bardock cultivated for them, and they eat them to also gain a temporary power boost. Judging from the injuries incurred, they'll need every bit of power they can get. Seconds later, the trio of androids land before them. Raditz gulps. Never has he felt fear like this, not this intensely. How is he going to win? It's living and dying by the shield. Raditz knows that running is not an option. If they die here in the pursuit of peace, they know they'd be gone for the right reasons. 18 take care of Raditz. I've got Kakarot, 17 states, tapping forward. Come on then, let's go, Raditz shouts, using his golden Super Saiyan form again. 18 leaps and grabs him by the neck of his shirt before headbutting him. She then lands a clubbing strike to his head, followed by an elbow to his chest. Raditz just about manages to catch the next one, but gets rocked by another that comes shortly after. This knocks him onto his bottom and he harshly hits his head on the rough dirt. I thought this was going to be way more fun, 18 says, walking over to him. Raditz isn't going to go down like this though. He's hurt, yes, but he's a warrior. Standing back up, he shouts and lands a powerful swing. He doesn't stop there though and just continues punching. 18 blocks or evades most of the attacks, but Raditz can get lucky from time to time and break through such guard. When he breaks through though, he can't really hurt her. His attacks land, yes, but that's pretty much all they do. He begins landing punch after punch onto her face and 18 just stops blocking. He continues punching. He's in the heat of the moment, so doesn't realise what she's doing. It takes a good few before he realises. He starts slowing down with them until he realises that she's just stopped. As he drops his hands, he can just see her smiling. She lands a quick right hand strike to his jaw and it carries enough force to drop him onto his bottom. He then turns to join the fight against Kakarot. Super Saiyan Kakarot continues to fight 17 but is not doing well himself. He swings out for an overhand strike, but the android slips past his hit and strikes him in his head before sweeping at his legs to knock him off course. As he drops, he grabs his shirt and hurls him into the air before flying after him and kicking him down to the ground. The two androids land just ahead of Kakarot, who slowly raises while holding the side of his body. The Saiyan foresees 17's next movement and gets given more time to evade, however he's just too fast. He still gets hit by an elbow to his chin, but 18 stops him from totally falling over. This gives 17 the chance to land another attack that deals even more damage. 18 is strong enough to just firm the impact behind him, but Goku coughs up blood from taking the hit. Why are you doing this? Goku asks, as 18 then grabs his limbs and stops him. Well, it's my nature, it's how Dr. GERO made me, and it feels better than ever to get it done so quickly, 17 says, before kicking his torso then punching him in his solar plexus. Goku strugglingly takes all these hits, but makes sure to stay in his golden Super Saiyan form. If he doesn't, he's most certainly dead. He takes a punch to his head, then more and more hits. They hurt like hell, but he stays firm. That's all he can do. Just as 17 aims to attack him again though, Kakarot smiles. Took you long enough, Kakarot thinks, upon seeing his next image. Bardock comes flying down from the skies and strikes 17 right in his face. He then launches out one of his energy strings that wraps around 18's left arm. Tugging at it, she's thrown to the ground and frees Kakarot. He grabs him just as he falls, returning to his base. He looks almost unconscious for a short while since he's been hurt for so long. Come back here, come on, he says, before giving him a senzu bean. After receiving this, Kakarot takes a massive gasp of relief and frees himself. "What were you doing in that lab?" Kakarot asks. "This, I was working on myself," Bardock explains, as his helmet fragments to reveal his face. "You may not see anything off about me, but I'm different, I'm stronger." "What do you think you're doing, Bardock?" "Yeah, that's right, I know your name," 17 shouts at him, now standing. "Don't worry, I know that you know my name. You're androids, and I am one as well. However, I am also a Saiyan, but before these abilities you might not remember, but you were just ordinary humans picked up from the street," he explains. He hurls the senzu bean over to Raditz. Before entering his fighting stance, he begins to shout and cracks the ground from his emission of strength. Kakarot even looks quite surprised upon seeing this. Just how strong did he make himself? Veins appear on his neck as he shouts so loud and powerfully, and his hair rises. Super Saiyan Bardock is here. After consuming his own senzu bean as well, he's going to have a decently powerful boost for a short while. If they want to fight, he must get things done now. 18 charges at him, but he evades her first punch before blocking the next. As she comes charging in with a kick, he flips over it before kicking her right in the face. As he descends, he grabs the neck of her shirt and slams her down. The slam is so powerful that it creates a massive crater in the ground. 17 then takes this as a cue to jump in. However, Bardock releases a concentrated beam of blue hot flames at him. They shoot out and form this pure glowing white beam in the center as plasma is formed. The super hot blast hits him right in his chest, forcing him to try and block it using his hand. As the beam dies down, Bardock just resorts to his repulsor and fires out a ki blast. A massive explosion is released, knocking back both 17 and 16. After this attack, 16 grabs 18 before retreating. "It's impractical to fight them now. Our chances of taking down Kakarot will dwindle significantly if this continues," 16 explains. 17 grunts with anger before turning and flying off. 16 follows him. This leaves the three healed Saiyans together to discuss their next move. Shortly after, the humans arrive, now healed and ready to join the fight again. As they're stood here though, Bardock's sensor picks up something odd. An unknown alien-like creature has been found in the city of Gingertown. He is seen using a tail-like appendage to consume and absorb human bodies. "Send Symbol over there to handle it," he explains. Symbol, tied up to a bunch of wires and sedated, is suddenly awoken. Next, he steps out the lab and flaps his wings to enter flight. One notable difference here is his physique. He's not as fat as in the canon and significantly more muscular. The android flies up and soars the skies before landing ahead of Imperfect Cell in a Superman stance. Symbol doesn't want to waste much time here. He came into this world to follow orders and he's basically doing the same thing here. However, a good twist here is that he only follows Bardock's orders if they're reasonably ethical. He lifts and enters a fighting stance before sprinting ahead, his wings flap making him advance even faster, and he punches Cell. His heightened speed makes his attack even more deadly and knocks him off his feet. He then grabs one of Cell's arms and flips him overhead to slam him down. Lifting him up again, then spinning him around, he hurls him into a building, then leaps at him. Aiming his knee ahead, he slams into his body and launches him through the whole building. They fall into the adjacent street and Cell gasps for air after getting that last hit. Symbol just walks up to Cell, smiling at him. "Come on then, you gloat about knowing all of us, being all of us and better. What is this then?" Symbol asks, lifting his arms. Cell holds his chest and wipes his mouth to see blood. He sees this, then uses his solar flare to escape at the last moment. "Annoying," Symbol says to himself, rushing right after him. He slowly lifts, shooting out a powerful wave of air under his feet before firing off into the sky chasing after him. Across the planet, two Saiyans have returned, Nappa and Vegeta. "Where's Raditz?" Nappa sharply asks, smiling. "I'm not sure, but I see someone flying over there. It could be someone," he explains, before lifting. Nappa does the same, then both Saiyans blast off. Nappa tails behind him since he's just so large, he can't fly as fast. He isn't as quick naturally and is way bigger, so air resistance plays a bigger part in slowing him down. They arrive in front of a fleeing Imperfect Cell, just what Cell was hoping for. "What is this thing?" Nappa asks. "I have no clue. Where is Kakarot?" he asks, with his arms crossed. Kakarot, while he knows of him and Raditz, they're part of his DNA, but why is Vegeta looking for him? Cell doesn't even answer because he needs to find a way out of this situation. At the same time, the Saiyans and humans are discussing what to do. "We can't even sense those androids. How do we find them to stop them?" Future Trunks asks. "That is easy. I'll send out my swarms of insect bots to locate them. It won't take long before they're found. They might not have key signatures, but they do things that ordinary humans can't do. If they identify superhuman movement or activity, they can find them quickly. What is tough is defeating them. I got lucky and caught them off guard. I also use these senzu beans that temporarily double my strength. There's something else I was thinking of that we could use. The hyperbolic time chamber. We can spend a year training in a single day. Only 2 people can enter at a time though. When a pair goes in, the others should patrol and try and keep things safe for the time being. We shouldn't directly engage the threats, but try and locate them just to know what's happening," he elaborates. With that, the group know what they must do and head over there. The first pair to enter are the two Saiyan brothers. As they walk over to the chamber, Kakarot stops. "What is it?" Raditz asks. Looking up, he can see Vegeta and Nappa diving down in the skies. The two Saiyans land on the lookout, not even in their pods. They just land, and Kakarot could see blonde hair on them in the skies as they advanced. He continues watching them, with his cerulean eye activated. "Greetings, Saiyans. I haven't seen all of you in far too long," Vegeta says, standing and lifting his arms. "What do you want here?" Kakarot asks. "Me? Revenge," he shouts, tightening his fists. He powers up into Super Saiyan right there, and everyone around is quite surprised. They weren't expecting this sort of power from him. The lookout begins to shake, and Mr. Popo starts to look very scared. If they continue like this, it's not going to look great for the lookout and even the surrounding area. Vegeta smiles in this cunning but determined way. It's not just arrogance, but true confidence. There's something else that he's basing this confidence on. Kakarot and Raditz can see that immediately in his eyes. Just maybe this fight won't be as easy as they anticipate. The prince leaves no more time for pleasantries and begins the combat. Of course, he flies past Kakarot and aims for the true enemy, the person he'd been training for so long to fight. He lands a clean punch on Raditz, launching him off a corner of the main lookout building and into the sky. Vegeta leaps off and aims both fists ahead, flying forward like a superhero. He even shouts in this advance, feeling his emotions fire up as he puts energy into the battle. Raditz just about flips out the way of his next attack, but is then hit with a knee to his head. He's sent falling next to the lookout, and the others look over to continue tracking the fight as well. At the speeds they're whipping around the sky out, there's no hope of seeing what's going on. Raditz has already entered his golden Super Saiyan form, and the tides have turned in his favour. Vegeta feels thrilled to have been landing strong, painful hits on Raditz. The months and months were worth seeing him grimace, tremble from the agony he caused him. However, the truly superior warrior reveals himself. Vegeta's powerful advance is brought to an abrupt stop once Raditz catches his punch. It falls snugly into his hand and brings him to a complete stop. Raditz doesn't stop looking at him with his glowing golden eyes. Vegeta is too focused on the fight to even notice. The prince attempts to pull out his fist from his grasp and fails. He then tries to yank it right out with all of his weight, but it's completely useless. "Why don't you ever just let things go, Vegeta?" Raditz asks him. Vegeta is too blinded by the fight to listen to him. He punches him cleanly in the chest with his free fist. Just as he practiced with Nappa, use his body weight, twist it, use his anger and ferocity to deal damage. Nothing, another punch, another, all of it is futile. He's too scared to even lift his gaze to meet eyes with Raditz. He just continues punching and punching his chest, but soon realizes it's useless. "Stop the fight, Raditz. Cell is flying to the androids as we speak. We need to try and keep him away from them," Bardock reveals, catching both of their attention. "Don't leave this fight, it isn't over," Vegeta demands. "Another time, Prince of all Saiyans," Raditz says, not even giving him another glance. He flies down to the lookout, and the Z-Fighters consider how to approach this situation. While this is happening, Vegeta just watches from the skies, still and ruthlessly humble. So that will conclude the third part to What If Bardock Was Like Dr. GERO. Please tell me something you liked about this video, or something that I should improve on for the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.